Hello there. Welcome to The Agenda. My name is Abiodun Famujiro. Wherever you are joining us in the world today, we want to say thank you for joining us on this platform. Today, we're going to be having a very robust conversation about the subject of civic responsibility. But our focus will be on the usage and the expression of the word, wise up. I have joining me virtually from parts known in the world, a gentleman by the name Vincent Adeoba from the Americas. Vincent, you are welcome to The Agenda.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on this program.
Thank you very much. Vincent is not the only one joining me. A gentleman that has been on this platform before, with whom we had an intellectually engaging conversation, Oluyi. You are welcome to the platform again.
Thank you for having me again today. It's my
Thank
pleasure.
you. I'm going to be starting by asking you, Vincent, a question, and then we will come to Oluyi. How can we translate the energy, the passion, intelligence, excellence, and the conquering abilities of Nigerians in tech, in sport, and entertainment, and translate it to robust national development? Let me be very explicit. In recent times in the nation Nigeria, Nigerians outside the shores of Nigeria and outside the continent of Africa are doing remarkable things. In entertainment, closing down stadiums, closing down festivals. In tech, doing phenomenal things. In governance outside the country, elected to high positions of influence. And even in the place of sports. How do we translate this to robust national development in Nigeria? Mr. Vincent.
Thank you. And I think that's a very important question that we need to provide an holistic answer to, right? I believe over the time, the government has not done enough to provide enabling environment for young people so as to be able to maximize their potential towards national development. And that is why you see when young people are able to travel outside the shore of Nigeria and they have access to resources, right, they are able to excel. Like you've mentioned a lot of names, some of these people, they had to leave Nigeria before they were able to maximize their potential. These were young people that this talent was right inside them in Nigeria. But because the government over the time and the society itself has not done enough to encourage the young people, they had to leave. And they went to a nation where talents and excellence are appreciated. And they provide you the necessary opportunity you need and a platform you need to be able to maximize your potential. And that's why you see a lot of young Nigerians today that are leaving the shore of the country and go outside there to more developed country where they have opportunity and they're able to excel. For example, before I left Nigeria, I was managing a startup, right? And we're doing well in the market until government policy and some challenges that can be managed only by the government, push us out of the market where we were operating. It was a startup that had potential to employ thousands of people in Nigeria. But because we couldn't get government support, the environment was not friendly, right? We had to restructure our operation and we had to lay off a lot of people. And this is a challenge that an average young Nigerian they face on a daily basis. Government has failed in their responsibility to provide enabling environment for young people and for businesses to maximize their potential.
Mr. Vincent,
And
sorry
yes,
to interrupt you. I
okay.
hear the word enabling environment, enabling environment. It's like a cliche. You need to,
Mhm.
what exactly is the enabling environment? What what
Yeah,
what
so
exactly is it specifically? Or give us
okay.
examples, because every time a lot of people are talking about enabling environment. Because a lot of people watching us will tell you, okay, enabling environment, what do you mean?
Okay. So when you're talking about an enabling environment, you start first from one infrastructure. Nobody in Nigeria today will deny the fact that we have a debt of infrastructure across the country. Even Lagos State that we refer to as the commercial capital of Nigeria today, right? In terms of infrastructure, there's still a lot of challenges. Talk about good roads, you talk about electricity, you talk about water, you talk about some of these basic amenities that are needed for businesses to thrive. right? Like you said, I'm outside the country. I relocated recently. Since we've been here for almost 8 months now, there has never been a time where probably, there was no electricity, right? In some part of Nigeria today, people still go for 3, 4 days without having access to light, right? And they have to incur extra expenses by fueling their generator or, developing an alternative source of energy to be able to power their business and manage their operation. So, and infrastructure is one. When you also talk about government policy, right? Government policy in Nigeria is not friendly enough. We all heard the story of Gokada. We all heard the story of Max.ng. These are legitimate businesses that have invested billions of naira into that business. And they were solving important and critical problems in the transportation space. But a single government policy, in a day, messed up the entire vision of these companies. They had to restructure their operation. Thousands of people that were fully engaged under this company before were laid off because of government policy. So in terms of government policy, government needs to do enough. Today, if you're a young Nigerian, we have an amazing idea, right? And you need access to capital. It's very difficult to have access to capital. If you go to some of these commercial banks, they ask you for as high as 30 to 40% interest on capital on an annual basis. You can't survive it. A business that you are just starting that is less than 6 months, and somebody is asking you that you are going to be paying 30 to 40% interest on capital,
which is obviously not sustainable.
It's not sustainable, right? Because this is a business that you are still testing your market. You don't have a market fit product yet, right? But these challenges are there, and there are some of them that if they want to reduce the rates for you to make it competitive, right? They ask you for collateral. I'm a child of a poor parent. There's no way I want to go to bank today, regardless of the fantastic idea that I have. If a bank asks me to go and bring collateral, I don't have any collateral to bring.
Mr. Vincent, I know if I allow you, you will continue unabated because evidently you're a product of the inability to find an enabling environment within the environment that you were in that made you to get a new environment. Oluyi, translating the successes of Nigerians outside the shores of Nigeria to robust national development. What should we be doing? Oluyi.
Sorry, can you come again? Can you recap?
Translating Nigerians outside Nigeria and the continent of Africa are doing phenomenal things. From sports to tech to entertainment. When you say you are a Nigerian and you come into a space where you are being celebrated because you are doing great things. Vincent has said to us, there is no enabling environment, infrastructure, the financial institution, government policies. What is your recommendation on what can be done for us to have a robust national development that will change this narrative?
Once again, I want to appreciate this program, the agenda, because I think this is kind of a venue for us to hear our view and also say one or two things for the government to shaping, to keep the pace that we really need to thrive as a nation. I want to go to what Mr. Vincent actually said, which were just the facts and the reality on the ground. He made mention of the policies and the government's activities in driving the development. Nigerians are doing quite well out there because they have the enabling environment and they have what it takes. But back here in Nigeria, even though our guys are still trying, the reality must also be told. We are trying, even when there are no enabling environment. But what we need to do basically is, I feel our younger generation has to be consistent. By the time we are consistent in what we do as young people and as a nation, I think we will get there.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Oluyi. Before I ask the next question from either one of you, we're going to go on a short commercial break. When we return, we're going to be talking about japa. It is an expression that is very much familiar within the Nigerian lexicon, japa. But permit me to say this. We'll be back in a short while. Do not japa. Talk to you soon. Welcome back to the agenda. My name is Adeoba Famujura. I have with me Vincent Adeoba and Oluyi. We're talking about Wise Up, civic responsibility. I was going to ask a question. I would start with Vincent, who evidently understands what I'm about to say. Vincent, the jackpot trend is worrisome. It is a reality. Can this be addressed? And is there anything Nigeria can gain from this mass migration? Now, for those who do not understand, wherever you are joining us in the world and watching this program, the word jackpot means a forceful displacement and relocation from the state of Nigeria to any globally accepted location of your choice. It has become a migration that everybody is talking about. When will you jackpot? It is a trend. It is worrisome. In recent news, the United Kingdom licensed 266 doctors within a short space of time. Vincent, how will Nigeria address this mass migration? This trend is worrisome. What do we stand to benefit? Will it stop or will it aggressively continue?
Yeah. Thank you. Right, a very important question again. Right, but let me just correct something. The way you describe the Japa movement is not forceful. Right, it is voluntary. People are voluntarily leaving their country because they're in search of a better opportunity and quality of life. Right, and it's a yearning for every human. People want quality of life. People want to be safe. People want to live in an environment where they can maximize their potential. And when you talk about this Japa movement, right, people are running away from bad leadership, right? People are running away because over the time, the government of Nigeria has not done enough to provide an enabling environment that will help their people to maximize their potential. You have brilliant minds in Nigeria today that have solutions to some of the fundamental problem and existential problem that we are facing in Nigeria. But the mind of these brilliant people, have not been explored to solve this problem. Rather, government prefer to look to people that have no national interest, that have no mental capability and the capacity to lead Nigeria forward, to occupy important government offices. And it is the reason why Nigeria is not moving forward. If you're a Nigerian today and you were earning 500,000 in 2015, if you are earning 700,000 today in 2022, you are poorer with the 700,000 that you are earning today, right, compared to what you were earning in 2015. And these are issues that needs to be addressed. If Nigeria is a nation where opportunity are available to everyone, if Nigeria is a nation where people can maximize their potential, and if Nigeria is a nation that is working, people will not have reason, right, to leave their country in search of better opportunity.
Which is why it is a forceful relocation. If the situation and the conditions were right, they would not leave. Necessity was laid upon us that people, Nigerians, had to move. That is the force of governance, the force of leadership based on your description. Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Oluyi, I'm correct now. Mr. Oluyi, let me ask Mr. Oluyi. Jackpot, the trend is worrisome. Can it be slowed? What is it that Nigeria stands to benefit from all this massive relocation?
Yeah, what Nigeria stands to benefit has always been the benefit that has been in existence for decades, even before some of us were born. You understand? If you look at the leaders that we have today in Nigeria, at least we have so many of them who actually went on to school abroad and they came back. In all areas of life, we can name them in the entertainment industry, be it in whatever industry we have today in Nigeria. In any part of it, we have few of our leaders who schooled abroad and they're back. So they brought back to Nigeria the knowledge and the experience they had over there to bring some transformational change in Nigeria. At least we can still talk about late stage Awolowo. He schooled abroad and we can still pinpoint things he did in the Southwest, in the Western region back then. But that aside, looking at the current trend of people, moving out of the country, That is to tell you that our leaders are not alive to their responsibility, and we must face that fact. He has just mentioned challenging thing. United States of America is just too big for us to mention. If you go to Ghana, neighboring African countries, Ghana, South Africa, Kenya, Rwanda, these are places that some of us have gone to for conferences. You would see that hardly will you hear them complain about lightning. You won't hear them say they don't have electricity. And these are countries that naturally are not even up to Nigeria by population or by
size.
Land, by size, and yet their leaders are alive to responsibility. What can reduce the level of people moving out of Nigeria is our leaders, their life to responsibility. And now it is not just the leaders alone. Also, the citizens have one or two things to do. It is not enough for us to keep complaining that we have bad leaders. What are we doing to ensure that we eschew the bad leaders out of the system? What are we as citizens doing to ensure that we excuse them of this from the leadership that we are enthroning them into? Are people, those who are migrating today, I know when they get there, as much as they can see the difference, they also will see the difference of citizens being concerned about the development of the entire nation. You imagine a Nigerian who tell you, what's my business with the electoral process? What's my business with governance when I have my life to live? Yet, those who we give the opportunity to undo our economy, to undo our governance, are those who decide our fate as a people. So these are things that we must be conscious of. Yes, the only chance, the only available option for Nigerians today is to migrate. About 2-3 months ago, we had about the United Kingdom. The British embassy said they had about 35,000 applicants of Nigerians, to be precise, who are willing to go to UK for study. As I speak, I have more than 10 friends who have relocated to the United Kingdom. Those who have gone to US in the last 4 months.
What are you still doing? Mr. Oluyi, before we continue, I need to ask a question. We're going to be going on a short commercial break shortly, but I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to ask this question as a foundation, such that when we come back, you will be able to answer. And this is the question: the perception of Nigerians outside Nigeria, globally, is a crisis. When you present your green passport at certain immigration in certain countries, you are treated less than human. You are almost dehumanized because of the international dimension of certain individuals perpetrating fraud, perpetrating court clashes in the countries where they have gone to visit, gone to stay, or just passing through. How do we re-engineer the perception of Nigeria in the global community beyond the tech, sports, and entertainment space? How do we re-engineer the perception of Nigeria in the global community? When we come back, we will be taking the response from Vincent and Oluyi. This is still the agenda. My name is Abiodun Famujuro. Stay tuned. It's good to have you back. This is still the agenda. I have with me Vincent and Oluyi. We're talking about civic responsibility with the subject matter, Wise Up. Vincent, the global perception of Nigeria, re-engineering it against the notion that we are a nation of fraudsters, we're a nation of questionable character. How do we re-engineer this process?
Okay, yeah, thank you. So I think it has to start from the leadership of the country.
The leadership of the country.
Yes, you mentioned that young people, some of Nigerians are known for fraud and some, crimes across different countries. But you also need to mention that no one has done damage to our national image in the last centuries or in the last decade than our leaders. These are leaders that they embezzle billions of Nigerian funds, right, and keep in other countries where they are not needed. these people are the one we need to talk about first before we start talking about the youth, right? If we have leaders that are responsible, if we have leaders that are men and women of integrity, they can serve as a model, as an example to the young people in the country to believe in dignity of labor. But today you will see somebody that was probably driving in a pep, a keke napep on your street 2 years ago. Luckily, was able to get into House of Representatives, and before you know, is driving Oma, is driving Range Rover, right? So what salary are they getting in that House of Assembly, in that Senate, that will transform a man that was riding keke napep within 2 years, to have mansions in Ikoyi? And these are what the youth are seeing on a daily basis. They are not believing that there's a dignity in labor, right? And that's why today you go to every part of the country, you see a lot of young people, getting involved in crime because they want to become overnight success just like the politicians. So the what we can do is from the leadership, they must become a role model to the young people. Again, we must create opportunity that makes young people to believe that there's dignity in labor, right? People must be held accountable for every office that they hold. When somebody steals 8 billion
There
and
must
there's
be
a
there
young
must be consequence and judgment.
and there's a young guy that have been working for 5, 10, 20 years and hasn't been able to even save up to 10 million naira in his account, and we have somebody on the national news that is being prosecuted for 80 billion. What other damage can you do to your country that such high level of crime, and most times these people, they get away with it? That is the problem of how people across the world are treating us. They see our leaders as corrupt people, they see our leaders as irresponsible people, and they see our leaders as people that do not have the interest of their people and the interest of their country at heart. And because of that, they also believe an average Nigerian represents who their leader are.
Thank you very much, Vincent Adeoba. Very well put. This is a very delightful communication. Mr. Oluyi, your response to this as we round off.
I think I have a very divergent view from what my...
Please go ahead. Give it to us.
To me, I believe it is a function of the society. It's a function of our individual personality. The reality is, when we say we have a Nigeria is not just the grass or the vehicles that move. It is the people. We need to start reorientating ourselves. Today, I am pretty sure that you were first. I am first Tayo. I'm first myself before I'm going to become whatever I want to become. It is me first before becoming a leader. Those who are leaders today, they were a function of the society at which they were bred on, or they were breeding, or breed from rather. Now we must start reorientating ourselves as a people of Nigeria. That there is a bad image we have out there. Recently, you talked about the court clashes. It started in South Africa, if you remember, before the xenophobic attack, where Nigerians who were into drug were killing themselves in South Africa. Is that the function of our leaders in Nigeria? Is it the function of a leader from here that actually told them in South Africa to start killing each other? Now, we saw what recently happened in Dubai also, where we had court killings, different court groups. Probably they had cause to settle from Nigeria, and they met themselves out there in Dubai, and they started killing each other, started fighting. Reorientating ourselves as people, that there is need to change the mentality of get quick rich syndrome. It is an average mentality that most Nigerians have. It is not the function of the leaders. Yet our leaders have so many things that we can blame them upon. But those who become leaders were a function of the society.
They are products of the society. They were taken from amongst us.
Exactly. They were all picked from. So it's for us to start orientating our younger ones that we should start telling ourselves the truth. This responsibility goes to the church, to the mosque, to every organization.
Every organization. Thank you very much, Mr. Oluyi. Thank you, Mr. Vincent. The process of re-engineering, as you've mentioned, is something very critical. And it is our hope that those who have been given the mandate of communicating the reorientation will do that which is needful and that which is meant to be done. We appreciate you, the agenda. Thank you for joining us today. Wherever you are on this platform, wherever you are watching us, we have reiterated that the Nigeria of our dreams is possible it starts with you. Before everyone became a leader, he or she was once a follower, was once an individual, and remains an individual. We cannot keep pointing the finger on those who are leading us exclusively, because we have a role to play. Play your role today. Do that which you have to do to make this nation greater than ever, to make the flag fly higher than ever. And please do not play the blame game. We understand we all have a role to play. The leadership has a significant role to play. The followership does the same. I look forward to seeing you once again on this platform. Thank you. And please remember, you can connect with us on our various social media platforms displayed on the screen. Engage us. We look forward to your feedback and your communication. This is the agenda. My name has been Abiodun Famujuro. Till I come your way again, try not to japa. Wise up now. Bye for now.